Never make this mistake in an adults-only cruise space. It can get you kicked out or ruin your trip fast. Most people break the unspoken rules without even realizing it. And once you're that guest, the vibe is gone. So here's your quick guide. 11 mistakes to avoid, plus the smart moves that keep you relaxed, welcomed, and maybe even treated like a VIP. From the chair hog problem to drink disasters, we'll cover it all. So your adults-only moments are nothing but smooth sailing. Picture this. You found the perfect sun lounger in the adults-only area. The sea breeze is warm, the waves are a gentle hush, and then it happens. Someone plops down 2 chairs over and starts shouting into their phone about office drama, family gossip, or some real estate deal they're clearly way too proud of. Every word bounces off the calm like an air horn in a library. In adults-only zones, peace and quiet are the luxury. People come here to escape kids, crowds, and chaos, not to hear a blow-by-blow recap of your cousin's divorce. And here's the kicker. On a cruise ship, sound carries farther than you think. That one quick call can make half the deck glare in your direction, and it only takes one irritated guest complaining to the crew for you to get a tap on the shoulder. Even if you don't get asked to leave, congratulations, you're now the loud one. The fix is simple. If you need to take a call, keep it short and quiet, or better yet, step into a public lounge or your cabin. Save the long conversations for when you're off the deck. Because here's the thing, even total silence can get you into trouble if you're not careful. We've all seen it. Rows of empty loungers draped with towels, flip-flops, and paperbacks, their owners nowhere in sight. Sometimes it's 20 minutes. Sometimes it's 3 hours. Meanwhile, other guests wander the deck, scanning for a free spot that doesn't exist because the seats are being held hostage. On a cruise, especially in adults-only areas where seating is limited, this is one of the biggest pet peeves. The crew might give you a grace period, but if your lounger sits empty for too long, they're well within their rights to remove your belongings. And when they do, you risk losing not just your spot, but whatever goodwill your fellow passengers might have had toward you. Nobody wants to be remembered as the selfish chair hog. The fix? Only claim a seat when you're actually ready to use it. If you need to leave for more than 20 to 30 minutes, to grab lunch, hit the pool, or explore, free it up. You'll earn more respect, and the vibe on deck stays friendly instead of tense. And speaking of spots, sometimes the mistake isn't about where you sit, but what you bring with you. It sounds harmless, right? You slip a little flask into your bag thinking, it's an adults-only area, who's gonna care? But here's the truth. Cruise lines take outside alcohol policies seriously, and that includes the quiet adult zones. I once saw a guy pull a rum bottle from his tote, pour a generous splash into his Coke, and before he could even stir it, a crew member was at his side. Within minutes, the bottle was gone, and he got a not-so-friendly reminder about the ship's alcohol rules. In some cases, they'll even note it on your account, meaning the rest of your cruise is now under a little extra watch. The problem isn't just about policy, it's about safety, service standards, and fairness. Bars in adults-only areas are stocked for a reason, and the drink service is part of the whole experience. Bringing your own can undercut that and put staff in an awkward position. Plus, if something happens, like you overindulge, the crew has no record of what you've had, which can be a liability. The fix? Use the onboard bars or, if you're a frequent sipper, invest in a drink package. It's more convenient, keeps you in good standing with the crew, and you won't have to hide your glass every time someone walks by. But not all drinks are created equal here. In fact, some can get you in trouble even if you buy them on board. You finally settle into your lounger, the sun's warm, and the bartender brings over a towering frozen cocktail, pineapple slice, paper umbrella, the works. It looks perfect until the condensation starts dripping onto the cushion, the syrupy mix sloshes over the rim, and suddenly your seat, and maybe your neighbor's, is sticky. I've seen it happen more than once. A guest orders a bright red, sugary drink in a glass, takes 2 sips, and then sets it down on the arm of their chair. A little wave from the ship's motion sends it toppling into someone's beach bag or onto their towel. Cue the apologetic smiles and a silently ruined afternoon. And it's not just the mess. Some drinks, especially those loaded with cream or certain mixers, give off strong scents. In an enclosed or semi-enclosed adults-only lounge, that piña colada aroma can go from vacation vibes to overwhelming fast, especially for people with scent sensitivities. The fix is easy. When you're in the adults-only area, choose drinks that are easy to handle and less likely to spill. Think stemless wine glasses, cans, or simple cocktails served in sturdy cups. If you want the big, fancy frozen drink, enjoy it at the bar or by the pool before heading back to your lounger. Because while a spilled cocktail might earn you a quick no worries from your neighbor, the next mistake could get you a far colder reaction. It sounds absurd, but it happens more often than you'd think. You're in the adults-only area, no kids in sight. So you figure, what's the harm in catching up on my favorite show? Except your favorite show happens to have a few spicy scenes, and your screen is angled perfectly so the couple two loungers over can see everything. I've witnessed the awkward aftermath firsthand. A guy was watching a movie on his tablet, headphones in, clearly minding his own business. But the people sitting behind him caught a glimpse of a very revealing moment, and within minutes a crew member was discreetly asking him to turn it off. The poor guy looked like he wanted to sink straight through the deck. Even though the space is adults only, adults doesn't mean anything goes. There are still decorum and comfort rules. Other guests didn't sign up to be part of your Netflix binge, especially if it's not safe for work. And when people feel uncomfortable, they speak up, which can lead to embarrassment or even being asked to leave for the day. The fix is simple. Save explicit shows or videos for private spaces like your cabin. In shared areas, stick to neutral content. Travel vlogs, light comedies, music videos, or just read a book. That way, your fellow cruisers can enjoy their peace without any unexpected plot twists. And speaking of keeping things covered, your next mistake might involve what you wear, not what's on your screen. The sign says adults only, so you might assume anything goes. But here's the catch. Cruise ships still have dress codes, even in these spaces. That means certain swimwear styles, while perfectly fine on a private beach, might cross the line on deck. I once saw a woman stroll into the adults-only pool area in what could only be described as two triangles of fabric connected by hope and optimism. She looked amazing, sure, but within minutes, a crew member politely asked if she had a cover-up. The conversation was discreet, but the stares and whispered commentary from nearby guests? Not so subtle. The reality is, not everyone's comfort zone matches yours. What feels like harmless self-expression to you might feel like too much to others, and cruise lines aim to keep the vibe relaxed for everyone. The last thing you want is to be pulled aside mid-relaxation for a wardrobe chat. The fix: pack at least one cover-up or lightweight wrap and use it whenever you're walking around or lounging in mixed company. It's a win-win. You'll avoid unwanted attention from staff, and you'll still turn heads in a way that keeps the atmosphere friendly. All right, we've hit the halfway mark, but the next mistake is a sneaky one that can turn your relaxing day into a painful nightmare. Quick note before we dive into the next mistake. If you're finding these tips helpful, hit that like button and subscribe so you never get caught making these cruise blunders again. I share insider advice that helps you cruise smarter, avoid embarrassment, and make the most of every moment at sea. All right, let's keep going, because the next mistake might literally burn your trip to a crisp. The adults-only deck is paradise. Soft loungers, endless sky, a gentle ocean breeze. You close your eyes, just for a minute, feeling the warmth soak in, and the next thing you know, you're waking up an hour later looking like you've been slow roasted. I've seen it happen over and over, especially on the first full day at sea. People underestimate how strong the sun is when you're surrounded by reflective water. On a cruise, UV rays bounce off the ocean and deck surfaces, doubling their punch. That healthy glow you were going for? It turns into a painful burn that makes even putting on a t-shirt feel like sandpaper. Not to mention, peeling, redness, and sunstroke aren't exactly the accessories you want for the formal dinner night. The fix: apply sunscreen with at least SPF 30 before heading to the deck, and reapply every couple of hours, especially if you're swimming. Wear a wide-brim hat or sunglasses and take breaks in shaded areas to cool your skin. Even seasoned cruisers make a point to rotate between sun and shade. It's how you stay comfortable the whole trip. Because while sunburn can ruin your day physically, the next mistake can ruin it for everyone around you, with just the press of a button. You've got your favorite playlist queued up. Beachy vibes, maybe a little reggae, maybe something more upbeat. You press play, set your phone or Bluetooth speaker on the lounger, and suddenly the entire adults-only deck is part of your personal concert. Now you might think you're setting the mood, but here's the reality. Everyone else came here for their own soundtrack. For some, that's the sound of waves and wind. For others, it's the quiet chatter of friends. Your music, no matter how great you think it is, overrides that. And if even one guest complains, crew will step in. Fast. I once watched a group get shut down mid-song after blasting 80s hits for half an hour. They weren't being malicious, just having fun, but the vibe shifted the second staff asked them to turn it off. The rest of their afternoon was awkward, and the fun group quickly became the inconsiderate group in everyone's minds. The fix: headphones always. Want to share music with friends? Keep the volume so low it can't be heard past your own seating area. The adults-only space is about mutual relaxation, and you'll keep more friends by letting people choose their own soundtrack. And speaking of sensory overload, the next mistake can clear a whole row of loungers without making a sound. Picture this. You're stretched out on your lounger, eyes closed, breathing in the salty ocean air, and then a cloud of heavy perfume rolls over you like a scented fog bank. Suddenly, that fresh sea breeze is replaced by vanilla musk overload, and you can't escape it without abandoning your spot. I've seen this play out more than once. Someone spritzes themselves right there on deck, thinking they're just freshening up. But on a cruise ship, the air can be still, and scent lingers. For guests with allergies or sensitivities, it's not just unpleasant, it can trigger headaches, nausea, or even breathing problems. And because the adults-only area is meant for relaxation, strong scents can completely ruin the atmosphere for everyone within a dozen loungers. The fix: go light. Apply perfume, cologne, or body spray in your cabin before heading out, and stick to a single subtle scent. If you're reapplying sunscreen, choose one that's fragrance-free so you're not adding another competing aroma. This way, you still smell great up close without broadcasting it to half the deck. Because while scent can drift quietly, the next mistake is a lot more direct and can get you labeled as that creepy person faster than you think. You spot a prime seat opening up near the pool, or maybe you notice a group having an interesting conversation. You casually wander over, but instead of sitting down or moving on, you linger. Maybe you're waiting for someone to leave. Maybe you're just taking in the view. But to the people there, you've just become the awkward extra in their personal space. I've watched this happen countless times, and it's never well received. Even in adults-only spaces where people are generally more relaxed, there's still an unspoken bubble of comfort. When someone stands too close for too long, others start wondering, are they eavesdropping? Are they trying to join in? Are they just staring? It shifts the mood from easygoing to uneasy in seconds. On a cruise ship, this is magnified because the space is limited. People don't have the luxury of walking away easily, so your presence feels more intense. And yes, I've seen guests complain to staff about creepy hoverers, which can lead to an embarrassing conversation you didn't see coming. The fix: if you're looking for a spot, scan from a distance and move directly to it when it's available. If you're socializing, wait for an open invitation before joining a group or sitting nearby. A friendly smile from afar works much better than standing silently in someone's shadow. And now for the ultimate rookie mistake, the one that ties all the others together. Here's the mindset that gets more people in trouble than anything else. It's adults only, so there are no rules. Wrong. Just because the space is kid-free doesn't mean it's lawless. The adults-only zone is still part of the cruise ship, meaning the same standards of conduct, safety, and respect apply. I've seen guests treat it like their own private beach club, smoking where it's not allowed, blasting music, ignoring staff directions, even rearranging furniture without permission. The result? Tension between guests, crew intervention, and sometimes even written warnings on a passenger's account. Once you're flagged as a problem, you might find your access to certain areas restricted, not just the adults-only deck, but other premium spaces as well. The thing is, the rules aren't there to ruin fun. They're there to protect the atmosphere. When everyone follows them, you get a peaceful, high-end retreat where you can actually unwind. When people ignore them, it turns into just another crowded deck. The fix: treat the space like a shared luxury lounge. Be mindful of noise, respect the furniture and layout, follow crew instructions, and remember, you're a guest in a communal area. The more you contribute to the good vibe, the more you'll get out of it. Do these right, and you won't just avoid mistakes. You'll be one of the people others hope to see again next cruise. And that's it. The 11 biggest mistakes to avoid in an adults-only cruise space. If you steer clear of these, you'll keep your spot, your comfort, and your reputation intact, all while soaking up the best kid-free vibes on board. If you made it this far, type "smooth sailing" in the comments so I know you're part of the crew who cruises smarter. And if you found even one tip here that'll save you from an awkward moment, hit that like button and subscribe. I post insider advice that keeps your trips stress-free and unforgettable. Until then, enjoy every blissful, sun-soaked, worry-free minute at sea. See you on deck.